We are in Shmuel Aleph and chapter 16. Please subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up. Thank you. Okay. And we are on verse. Right? We are. Right.
We just started 16, I guess.
No. We are in verse 3. Right. So what happened was Hashem had asked Shmuel, how long are you going to mourn for David? For Shaul, so Shmuel says, how much? And Hashem says to Shmuel, go to Yishai's house, and there's going to be somebody there I want you to anoint. Shmuel says, how can I go and anoint it? If Shaul hears about it, he's going to kill me. We covered that whole thing last week. And Hashem says, don't worry about it. What you're going to do is you're going to take a heifer, and you're going to say, I'm going to offer this to Hashem as a sacrifice. Right? And now, Gimel. Karata liyishai b'zavach. And you're going to call Yishai for this sacrifice, ve'anochi odiacha, and I will inform you, Shmuel, and ashitaseh, that which you will do, mashachta li, and you will anoint for me et asher omar elecha, that which I tell you to do. Okay, that's what Hashem tells him. That's Hashem's game plan. So the Malbim says, Karata, you will call, v'zeh lo yeshum chashad, and when he calls to, again, we're trying to get rid of suspicion here. So when you call him, that will take away all suspicion. And then Hashem says, I will inform you. Perish ki ba'ashir gam be'etz zo adayan lo tikain. He says, also in this advice, it was still not fixed. She'im yeshuv le'mor lizboch l'Hashem bati, that if he just said, I'm coming to sacrifice to Hashem, adayin eno emek gemor, this is not the total truth. Ki alo ba gam l'tachtan achir. He was coming for another purpose, namely shuhulim el-meshuach melech. Namely, he had to anoint somebody as king. Umaya, and so what should he answer him? If they ask him, or if he asks him, Im ba rak l'zevach or gam al devar acher, when he says, are you just coming to give a sacrifice, or are you coming for some other reason? Then he would be forced to lie, and it would ruin his reputation, as it were. L'chein amalei. So therefore, amalei Hashem said to him, da, no. Ki ata ani mishalachacha rak l'zevach l'zboch zevach. So know that I'm only sending you to give a sacrifice. That's all I'm doing. I'm not telling you to do anything else. If somebody asks you, what are you doing? Hashem told me to give you a sacrifice.
He was clearly right. He didn't disguise his looks. He just had this heifer with him.
Correct. No,
he was immediately recognized.
No, he wouldn't be immediately. He would not be immediately recognized. There wasn't Facebook back in those days, so you have to. Not everybody knew who Shmuel was. Okay, it's like think about if you would see, I'll pick on Madonna. If you would see Madonna without makeup, I don't know if she'd do that without makeup, but as soon as she would come out without makeup, what are the odds you would know Madonna? Or again, for all those people who are in New York. How many times do you have people put on sunglasses and go on the subway? Yeah, right. You know who they are. Yeah. We don't know who they are. Unless they're gigantic. If you saw Andre the Giant, maybe you'd know him. But if I would see any of these football players, basketball players, I wouldn't know who they are.
That's what I know. I never understood when Joan Rivers was still alive. She had this show in what was it? The Fashion Police. Like the paparazzi who hide out, taking. How do they know who they are? Right. They never look like themselves.
Right. So, like I said, there's very few people that I think I would know based upon their appearance. If I would see Donald Trump, I would know him at this point, but because I don't think he changes. I think he's always looks the way he looks. But if I would see other people, Ivanka, I wouldn't know Ivanka.
Oh.
His daughter. I wouldn't know Ivanka. I don't think I would. I think she could come into the shul, and I wouldn't see her because she's behind the mechitza anyway. Jared, I certainly wouldn't know. Certainly wouldn't know Jared. I'll give him an Aliyah maybe, but I wouldn't even give him Aliyah. I would ask him, "Are you Jewish?"
But
First.
there's no attempt
I don't
here
know.
that he be disguised.
No, there's no. But I'm saying they wouldn't recognize him either.
There was no
He
such
had to
thing as
announce
photograph.
him.
Yeah,
There was no
pictures
Facebook. There was
of
no CNN. Shlomo's going on the trip.
So if somebody sees a stranger and they ask him his name, he would say Shmuel Ben.
Yeah, Ben somebody.
Yeah.
Would they know that name then?
No, not necessarily.
Wow.
No, he didn't say I'm Shmuel Navi. He didn't say that. No, he wouldn't. I mean, they may have known him. I'm not saying they wouldn't, because they could have seen him in the Mishkan. He was working there. So, but again, I don't know. Of what I know, everybody who works, even if they're on TV, would I know the people who work for the president? I mean, if you go to...
If you saw a cabinet member, would you recognize him?
No, certainly not. I don't know who the cabinet is, so I wouldn't recognize him. But think about any of the presidents we've had. You wouldn't know these people on the street unless you're really into that sort of thing. I'm not going to know them.
Or you wouldn't expect to see them where you see them anyways.
Right. And you're going to think they can't be there, right? So here, so he says, but what he's saying is, Hashem is saying, you're not going to lie. If somebody asks you where you're going, I'm only going to give a thing. Because I'm not telling you who you anoint. I'm not telling you. When you get there, I'll tell you. I'll reveal the secret to you. But right now, your only mission is to bring the korban. Fine. V'shamo diach, and that's what he says. And there I will inform you at Ashir Ta'aseh Shlichot Hasheni. Then I'll tell you what your second level of being a messenger is about. Ba'ofen shekodem odiach hazeh, in the manner that before I inform you of this, tachled biyadcha, hu rak al zevach. That way, the only purpose of you going is for the purpose of offering a sacrifice. Now you're telling the truth from all sides, because that's all you know. And that's okay. So that's what Hashem tells him for.
So why is he afraid? And to back up a verse or two, he said, "If Shaul hears that I'm going to see Yishai, so why would Shaul even become suspicious? It'd be just because he knows that Shmuel is already disapproved of his actions. So therefore, if he sees him traveling to another town far away, that would be enough to.
Well,
make
again,
him
he has to
suspicious.
have a reason for what he's doing. So Shmuel, as Malbim said last week, remember he said you have to have. He would have to give a reason for what he's doing. That's number one. He didn't want to rely upon a miracle. Shmuel didn't want to rely upon a miracle because that would be spending his spiritual capital.
Oh, so I mean, again, he's afraid that Shaul's going to figure out what's going on.
Right.
So that's what I'm
Shaul's
saying.
not an idiot.
And if he sees him traveling to another town, he's going to get suspicious that he's looking for his replacement.
Right.
Because he knows he's unhappy already at this point. He says, "You know,
He says,
you already told him
God ripped your
that
king
you're
away.
not, that your name will not be carried
Correct.
to the next king."
Yeah.
Okay.
So he knows all this, so now if he gets the message that Shmuel's going, okay, why are you
That's
going,
gonna make him-
Shmuel?
just that he's going is going to make him suspicious.
Right. Okay, so then the one Dalit. V'yah Shmuel, so Shmuel did et Ashir diber Hashem, that which Hashem said or spoke. V'yavo Beit Lachem, and he came to Bethlehem. That was Beit Lachem, is Bethlehem, the house of bread. Okay. V'yechadu ziknei ir, and the elders of the city. Now this is interesting. V'yechadu means literally trembled.
Yes, my book says nervously.
Okay, nervously. There you go. And so the Ma'arikra says, "V'kanishu nikapsu miharu l'selikroto." They assembled quickly and they gathered to meet him. V'tameu al sheniach ohel moed. Oh, so they did recognize him. Here they're saying they recognize him, and they were wondering why did he leave the ohel
At
moed?
least the elders knew him.
Right. If in a ragil of all the Beit Lachem, and it wasn't normal for him to come. Now Shmuel was the only Navi, the only prophet or judge at that point. He was really more of the judges than the Navi. Was the only one to go around and be a circuit judge. Normally, what would happen is the other judges would be in their little shtetl, and people would come to them if they want to be judged.
Yeah.
If they had cases. So he is a roving rabbi here, and so they are saying, when the guy is coming out to meet us, something must be wrong. So v'yechredu ziknei ir. the kratos, so they nervously went out. The elders went out. The Omer Shalom welcome, and they said, "Oh, peace to the one who for you coming." And Shalom Aleichem. That's what they're really saying. Shalom Aleichem. And then he says, so. The Mavi Krad, just by the way, just to continue that, he says that's a question. Shalom Ba'acha, are you coming in peace?
Yeah.
Are you coming for good? It's like when somebody comes to shul, and I don't expect that to happen this morning. And I said, were you supposed to be here this morning? And the guy said, you don't want me here? And I know I want you here. It's very good you came, but I want to make sure I want to make sure my memory's not going. So, why are you suddenly here?
Cow with him, did he?
What?
He didn't have a heifer with him.
No, he didn't have a heifer, nor oil to anoint somebody else. No. Okay. So now, Malbim says like this. So Shmuel did what that was Hashem said. Ki ata rak zod hayta mitzvatom, because that was his only. Now it was only mitzvah. The chalchet eglet bakar, to take this heifer. Vayechrudu. So now the elders were nervous. V'yitchatein yitachen kivo l'sham v'eglet bakar biado chardu. So that when he came to that there, and the cow, the heifer was with him in his hand, they feared. Ulai nimsa chalal be'adama krova al beit lachem. Maybe he found. They were afraid that maybe there was a dead person that was found close to Beit Lechem. Uvala arof ha'egla benachal, and they thought that he's going to. What happened was, there's a case in the Torah. Let's understand this. It's a case in the Torah that somebody was killed, somebody was murdered, and we don't know who the murderer was. So what we do is we measure from the body to the surrounding towns. Whichever town is closer is the one we're going to bring a heifer that never worked, that was never worked. We're going to go to a field that was never plowed. The high priest, the elders of the town are going to have to not slaughter, they have to hit the cow from the neck down, which would destroy the cow for food. You can't, in order to eat the cow, you'd have to slit it from the kana veshet, the windpipe, and the esophagus. I think that's what they call it in English. Right? Trachea and that's a windpipe. That's good. Those two pipes at the same time. Kind of a veshet. That's what they call it. I always forget what they call it in English. But those two pipes, that's a kosher kill. Yeah. But they're not doing that. They're chopping it with an axe on the back, which makes the cow worthless. And now it dies in that field, so you cannot use the field ever again. And the cow is worthless too. But what happens is, Nachmanides says that would get people talking, and then you may find the actual murderer. And if you find the murderer, now he has to bring it to court, and so on and so forth. And if we can get him killed, we get him killed too. So, but this was what they were afraid of. They were said, maybe somebody was found dead on the road, and they measured it, and we're the closest town, which means that we have some guilt here, but we're also about to lose a field in our land. So that's all the Malbim is singing. He says, according to the Ralbag, this was a true incident. This is what they want him to think. Fine. So therefore, the elders of the city were trembling. Because now the mitzvah of Egla Rufa, killing the cow like this, would fall upon them. That's why the elders and the judges went out. So that's what's going on. And they say, Shalom Bo'acha, im lo bata al dama nishpach b'tzvivot ha'ir. Peace be unto you if you did not come because of blood that was spilled around our city. In other words, what's the reason you're coming? We'd love to see you, but why are you here?
I don't understand why they killed the cow in that way.
That's a biblical injunction. God said to do it that way, and just as the reason that we give is just as the person who's killed can no longer bear fruits, in other words, mitzvot or children. So also this cow that's worth a couple of thousand can no longer bear fruit. In other words, you can get no benefit from it. Just like the person could get no benefit because somebody cut him down in prime life, even if he's old, it doesn't matter. The same principle. So also this cow. But that's a biblical injunction. It's what we call a chok, a statute, which even if I can give you a reason, doesn't mean it's the only reason or actually the reason. It's just something that we guess is what's happening.
So they're saying, if whatever town or village the body is closest to, somehow it's presumed that they have responsibility. Maybe somebody from that town did it, and so therefore the town is bearing responsibility.
Yes and no. It doesn't have to be the person from that city. It could be that that city didn't do something. In other words, what we say is when a person walks into a city, we as the people of the city have a responsibility to take care of that person. Namely, to feed him, to give him a place to sleep if he needs it.
Overnight, and he left town, and somebody got him.
And to accompany him out. So somebody's coming through South Bend, right? So what do? They call up the Jewish community. I'm traveling through. Where can you recommend a hotel? Hotel, come to the Torah Center. We only charge $18 a night, $36 a night. No problem. And you want a place to eat? Midwest Kosher Deli. I'm giving everybody advertisement today. Okay. So Midwest Kosher Deli, you can get good deli sandwiches, great, and everything's good. And so, or you know what? You're here for Shabbos, come to my house for Shabbos. There's not an open invitation, okay? Come to us for Shabbos, we'll put you up, home hospitality, tremendous, okay? So now what happens is that person comes in, okay? And we feed the person, we're good, we make sure he has eat and drink. Now what happens when he's about to leave? What do? Do you just say bye at the door?
You walk him out.
You walk him out. You walk him out. You accompany him to where he's going. So some people would actually accompany him to the hotel or to the place he's staying. Mm-hmm. Some people will just walk a little ways with him and send him on his way. The point is, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do achila, shtia, and levia. Feed them, give them to drink, and also to accompany them out. If I've done all that, then I fulfilled my mitzvah. That's my mitzvah. Okay. If I didn't, so then I didn't fulfill my mitzvah. And by the way, a person comes to a meshulach. He's trying to get money for his industry, his yeshiva, or for himself, whatever the case is going to be. The first thing you're supposed to do is, before you write the check out, if you're going to write the check at all, is to invite him into your house and say, "Can I give you something to eat or drink?" That's number one. Before we get into the whole spiel you're going to give me, okay? So what can I do for you? Give me something. So if the person says, "I'd like a drink," no problem. You don't throw it on the table. You pour it nicely. You treat him like an important guest, okay? Because he should feel like a guest at that point. And then you give him that, and then what happens is you say to the person, "Okay, now what can I do for you?" Then they give you the whole story, and you're supposed to listen. You're supposed to listen. Look what they're giving you. Again, show them derech eretz, treat them nicely, and then whatever your check is going to be, or whatever you're going to give him, you give. And then when he gives you, after he gives you his bracha, because that's his part of it, he's giving his bracha for that. And then you walk. You don't just say sayonara, mister. Go have it. You walk him out, and you make sure that everything is good off your porch. Nobody wants to fall or anything, and you watch a little more, and that's it. You've done your mitzvah. That's the mitzvah. It's not just writing a check. It's not just giving the guy the $1. So that's that. But that all comes from this concept. So if the town didn't do that, if they didn't train their people how to welcome guests and how to treat guests properly, they are guilty. That's what the Torah is really telling us.
I did something that was sort of sad a couple times. Friends of mine have left town. They had parents here, they had other friends. I was the one who sat with them at the train station. It would be monstrous not to.
Okay, but that would be an example of the proper thing to do. You walk the person to the border of town. I don't have to walk them past the border of town, but you certainly walk them out. Or again, you accompany them to their place of, where they're going to be safe. Departure, right. Mm-hmm. I know that when I was, my father was very strong in this, that if it was a woman or a girl, you had to walk her all the way. You couldn't just drop her off in the middle of where you make sure she gets to the point of destination, and then now you can turn around, but not until she gets inside. That was my father. Only for a woman. For a guy, he didn't care. He said the guys can take care of themselves. He was. That was the days when he cared about when it was all right to care about the weaker sex, as it were. Now you do that, they think, what are you doing? Leave me alone. But that was my father's way. But and I have to admit that I see that many times. If it's a girl, I'll have much more feeling of need to make sure she gets to where she's going than if it's a guy. A guy, it's my father's attitude that even though it's wrong, it's, in other words, I should care about both of them equally, but it's something that it was just banged into me, I guess. Yeah. It's not such a bad thing. At least somebody gets home safe. 50% of the population gets home safe on my dime. Okay. So now we're on Hey. So he says, Vayomer Shalom. So he answers, Shalom. No, everything's cool. Nothing's wrong. Lo bati avord zeh. The only reason I came is to sacrifice. Okay, that's good. This Baruch Hashem bati. I'm only come to sacrifice to Hashem. Hitkadshu uvatem iti bezavach. So hitkadshu is normally make yourself holy, but this is, I think they want to say invite yourself. You're invited. Yeah, you shall invite. Okay. Oops. Let me just make sure that it's translated the way I want to. Prepare yourself. See, hitkadshu, fine. Prepare yourselves, and you will come with me in the sacrifice. And so he also invited or prepared Jesse and his sons, and he called for them to do the sacrifice. Okay, so he says, why does he prepare or invite Yishai amongst the rest, so that nobody will have any suspicion? So let's have a big party. We're coming for a big party. Everybody comes out. Yeah, no, I just came to sacrifice. No big deal. By the way, invite not only you, but Yishai, his children. So seemingly, by the way, he had some connection with Yishai also, because he's invited by name. I mean, you don't go to town and say, let's invite, who should I invite? Normally you say, who should I invite, right? But he's coming, either he asked the question beforehand, or he knew of Yishai, or Yishai was known, whatever the case is going to be. So you'd have to say that. Okay. Does anybody else say anything? No. Okay, fine. So it was when he came to them. I'm sorry, it was when they came. V'yar et Eliav, and he saw Eliav. This was Yishai's son. V'yomer, and he said, so Shmuel said, Ach neged Hashem Mishicho. Oh, so this must be Hashem, the one that Hashem wants to appoint as a king. And Rashi said, V'yomer Belibo, he said in his heart. He didn't say it out loud. Ach emed hu zeh shagom malchut. He said, this guy is fit to be the king because he sees this kid. So Malbim says, "V'yomer ach neged Hashem." Pirush, the explanation is Kishara et Eliav. When he saw Eliav, v'lo amar lo Hashem l'mashcho, and Hashem did not say to anoint him, Yada tekev ki inu nirtzeh. So he knew immediately that he wasn't desirable. Eitzel Hashem imo. Eitzel Hashem near Hashem. Shem lo came, because if this was not the truth, Matzu l'mashcho, and he was committed to anoint him, as it says, Meshach tali, you will anoint for me at Ashir Ema Elecha, that which I will say to you, Moshaya Kishara et David, like he did when he saw David, Shamalaikum Mashcheu, like he said, when he sees David, get up and anoint him. Chashav Shmuel, so Shmuel thought, Shasiba lezehu ba'avohe yod Eliav Shafel Kuma. So Shmuel is thinking, wait, Hashem didn't tell me to anoint this guy, so it must be because he's humble in stature. He's not as good looking as Shaul. So he said, maybe Hashem only wants these tall, guys that are good looking. Because in truth there was nobody that was as good like Shaul. That he was head and shoulders above everybody else. That's what the verse says about him. So maybe and Hashem wouldn't push away Shaul until you can find somebody like him. And that's what it says. Ach od yesh tikva kimashicho shehu Shaul shimshach mikavar odeh neged Hashem. She says that's why it's written. But still, there was hope that his Mashiach, his anointed one, would be that Shaul was anointed already while he's still with Hashem. Maybe he wouldn't be. Maybe he didn't reject him all that much. Because he was not yet a man fond of him. So now Shmuel was comforted, as it were. And he wanted to interpret this as there was nobody like Shaul. Okay, so Shaul is in his mind thinking, this must be what Hashem wanted, namely, that's referring back to Shaul, because this guy he didn't tell him to do anything, but it seems that this should be the right guy. So V'yomer Hashem el Shmuel. So Hashem says to Shmuel, Al tabid amarehu. Don't look at his appearance. Yel gavoa kamoto. And don't look at his height. Ki mastihu. I've rejected him. Ki lo el ashir yireh adam. Ki adam yireh le'enayim. It's not as man sees. The man will see to the eyes, but Hashem sees the heart. I'm not interested in height.
What was the Hebrew name of this first son?
Eliav.
Yeah, I think in my book it's
Eliav.
How many sons did Jesse have?
I believe he has 7, if I'm correct. If I remember correctly.
Now, in these two paragraphs, we're mentioning 3.
Okay, I think he had 7 altogether. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I forget how many he had. So he says, Rashi explains, don't look at his looks. El Yofi Te'ero. Keep going over time here. It's the beauty of his appearance. Because I rejected him, because he is an angry person. That Eliav got angry at David, so he doesn't have the right temperament. That's what Rashi is saying here. It's not like man sees. And here he's insulting him, because here he's insulting Shmuel. He said, even though you, Shmuel, called yourself a seer, you said, I'm Shmuel the seer. You decide to give that name to yourself. He said, even though you call yourself a seer, you said to Shaul, I am the seer. Now I'm showing you, I'm forming you, you're not the seer. You only see appearances. I see what's in the heart.
This is God talking to him.
God talking to him. He's giving Shmuel a little bit of Musa here. He's telling him off. Don't be so arrogant. So now we'll do the Malbim then. The Malbim. Yeah. You mind if I take a few more minutes? Does anybody mind if I take a few minutes? Okay. So V'yomer Hashem. So I just want to take a few more minutes of this. V'yomer Hashem. He shivlo. So Hashem answers him. He says, Al tavit marehu. Do not. This is a Malbim. Don't look at the appearance of Shaul. Sha'alav neged Hashem yishicho. Namely, it's referring to Shaul again. That he was anointed by Hashem. And don't look at his height. Kimyastiyu. I've rejected him. Ratzli more. Ekavoa koma. I rejected this height, the tall person. That even though he was desirous at one time, I rejected him now. Because the king gave in to the complaints of the people. So this was necessary that a person found favor in the eyes of the people. Lo kain melech ata, which is not what we need now. We need a king now. The one's going to find favor in the eyes of Hashem. Without the appearance, without the need of appearance or height. Okay, we got the guy that everybody would think would be the perfect fit. He had height, he had looks, he was desirous for the people, and as a result, he cared about public opinion. I'm not interested in that. We saw that didn't work. We need a guy who is just going to care more about me, what God care about, than what they care about. So we're not looking at looks anymore. It's not what man will see. Hore, Lord teaching him, Ki masha adam ro'eh, b'shofet, that which a man sees and judges. Mia isha yafeh, who is a good-looking man, Mia isha ma'ucha, who's not a good-looking guy. Eno maskim is not agreeing with the truth. V'zeh shekatuv, and that's why it says, Ki ha'emed hu lo kasher yireh adam. In truth, it's not like man sees. V'yuchal liyot she'ish mebnei adam danin alav. And it could be that the man from amongst the people is going to judge him, kihu yafeh to'avana, that he is a good-looking guy, or whatever the case, hu mechuar maguna, or he's ugly. Be'emet, in truth, v'chen ha'hefech, is the opposite. V'etam, the reason is, ki adam yireh le'enayim. The reason is because a man sees with his eyes, which means that adam shofet alana v'yafeh mitzad ra'od chushan, because when a man judges on beauty, he's only doing it from what his eyes see. Shehem lo yichushu rach chisonio, which is only on the outside, which is lo pnimioto, but not on the inside. L'chen yigduru hayofi lefi hamar'eh chitzono. That's why you're looking at the outside and you say, oh, he's a beautiful person. And that's why you care about the height and the appearance. Even though his inside, the inside person, what's on the inside behind the beauty, is full of mumim, is full of blemishes and of bad characteristics. Lo kain Hashem, but it's not the way of Hashem. Hashem sees the heart. Hu lo yabit rak levav al sarato hapinim. He only looks at the heart of the inside of the person. The person has to be good in manner and in temperament. That's the good man for him. The outside is nothing. We don't care. God doesn't care about the outside. Hashem only cares about what's in the inside. And so that's what he's giving over to Shmuel. He's saying, you, like everybody else, wants to look at the outside. You call yourself a seer. You're not a seer. You don't see what's inside. I see the inside. I know what's going on. And as a result, the Eliyav, who you think is a good-looking guy, I see he has anger, as Rashi would say. So he's not going to work out. I'll see other things. And you're looking at height. I'm looking at something totally different.
There's a difference between posture and stature. Or not necessarily posture, but I've said myself, when a child looks up at a parent, it means that the parent is taller.
Right.
When a child can look up to, not at, but to the parent, it means not that he's taller, but that he's greater.
Right.
And that's the difference.
Correct. That's what we're looking at. Yes.
Okay.
Good.